Whale players are turning free to play, and I'm about to break down some reasons why, my fellow flowers of Linkon. Quick disclaimer. This particular video is going to deal on some sensitive and serious topics yet again, so if you do not vibe with this style of content, I completely understand, and now would be a good time to quickly swift and move on from this video and do not proceed watching further. That's completely okay. But for those of you flowers that continue to stick around and watch the rest of the video properly from start to finish to understand the fluidity of the conversation, I appreciate you and I hope that we can have a kind understanding and just be a support system to each other in the comments section below, as we always usually do, and just foster a safe space as always. So here we go. Welcome back, my darling flowers of Linkon, to another episode of Love and Deep Discussion. Now, whale players are turning free to play. Why is that? The fact that the new summer multi-beach banner has already been announced, and the fact that they haven't even bothered, like Infold as a company, hasn't even bothered yet to issue even a simple statement just addressing and acknowledging the fact that, hey, okay, like the game's biggest spenders, which are the CN girlies, who quite literally overthrew the Honor of Kings game or app in the country, which is already a super huge game, which has like really huge events and everything, and in the past has never been able to really beat any other game. Like, they have always considerably been at the top of the charts. That is until the last month, when Xavier's Fallen Crown myth was released in 2025, his third myth companion, the King of Dark Knight. CN girlies surpassed all expectations and really showed their appreciation to Infold by topping the charts not once but twice, which helped us to be able to get 20 free pulls, right? Despite of all those things, or in spite of all those things rather, the CN girlies found out whoever was whaling and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to R3, his companion, which, if in case you didn't know or weren't familiar, R3 is the strongest you can make your companions or memory cards in the game Love and Deepspace, that will enhance your battle prowess and take it to quite literally new heights, and make sure that you excel, whether it be Deep Space Trials or Senior Hunter Contest. That is the whole purpose of R3ing if you're a hardcore combat kind of girl or combat player in general in these types of games, right? But his R3 companion ended up not really meeting the expectations which the CN girlies or the CN players had rightly hoped for or rightly were expecting. They were expecting to be able to receive a well-performed or well overpowered companion at R3 as per the advertised trailer. Okay, and being an HP scaling companion. Now listen, I am not a super smart hardcore battle girly. I do understand the basics, obviously, of the combat mechanics, and I am familiar and I am fully aware of how powerful myth companions are in terms of battle and how much value these cards bring to your overall gameplay, whether you're a free-to-play, minimum spender, high spender, doesn't matter. Like, it's obvious and it's understood, like, amongst all the players, that these are very powerful cards in terms of combat prowess, okay? So the fact that him being an HP scaling companion, and the fact that at R3 he was basically dying or being unalived way too quickly, which didn't make any sense, and there was a yellow bar which was supposed to regenerate, which was advertised in the trailer, and then his actual King of Dark Knight was not performing said capabilities that was advertised in actual battle mode or in the actual gameplay. So rightly so, the girlies were, or the players were, extremely upset. Okay. So I took to Reddit, and there was a very interesting and very heartfelt post that caught my attention, caught my eye. I say interesting because it doesn't look like any of the official mods of the Love and Deepspace community has even responded to that, like official mods I'm saying. Because why would they respond to a post like that? You know what I'm saying? Something that it's a post that is not really hyping up the company or anything, so why would they feel the need to respond is what I'm thinking. But anyways, this is a really great Reddit post and it is starting to gain a lot of traction, and I just wanted to read it out to you and share the sentiments. It's a sentiment from, like, heartfelt sentiments from a whale player who decided to stop being a whale player and now be a free-to-play player. And there are a lot of comments under this post. It's a great post, and I highly encourage you, whether you are a Xavier stan or not, to just take your time to read it, because this could happen to your favorite love interest in the future. You don't know that, right? So it's important to be compassionate, keep an open mind, be kind to one another in the comments, and just respect people's opinions. Try to see, you don't have to agree with somebody, but you can try to think from where they're coming from and where they're coming from, essentially, and just try to empathize with them at least a little bit. So I'm going to read the main post and some comments that stood out to me, and let's just get into it. Anyone else going free to play? From baby whale to the wallet being nerfed. Started this game with my friend. We were both die-hard Xavier mains. Eventually, I swapped to Zane, and I was living my best life. I made detailed guides to share for free with this community, even dropped $400 a month without even blinking. No regrets. It was fun. But lately, the mask has slipped. The company is showing straight-up greed and zero respect for the fans who keep this game alive. The Xavier King of Dark Knight myth was the tipping point. Story? Gorgeous. Kindled? Stunning. Wardrobe? Chef's kiss. But that companion? Please. It's painfully obvious that they nerfed it last minute just to squeeze more lunar spending out of us. And the gag is that the big spenders didn't even need that shove. We were already here with wallets open. Now combat's a train wreck at higher orbits for anyone that is relying on Xavier, especially the girlies who main him. The story is still good, sure, but gameplay? You lit the house on fire and are selling us buckets of water. So, is it worth playing it under these conditions? Honestly, I'm leaning hard no. I'm taking a long break by retiring from making guides, going full free-to-play, and even passing the torch of the guides to my awesome friend Stella. She's got my trust, but my time and my money are officially up. Best of luck to those still pulling for the summer banner. I hope this doesn't happen to your ally and you get what you want, but I'm done paying for disappointment. Honestly, she is so valid for every single thing that she said. You pay for an experience and you hope to get what is advertised for that said experience by paying whatever exorbitant or small amount of money. And that is subjective, right? What is a small amount of money to you may be a big amount of money to somebody else. But everybody knows that in Love and Deepspace, it's a very expensive game to be playing if you're shelling out tons and tons of cash for the best player or best optimal experience when playing. And you totally do not need to spend money to play this game or enjoy this game, but if you really want to reap the fruits and the full enjoyment of the game, then yes, of course, you do have to spend some amount of money to actually gauge the full, game's capabilities and whatever it does have to offer currently at this moment. The main thing being the memory cards and the myth cards being the most powerful, as we discussed at the start of the video. So the fact that their silence is honestly so deafening to the point that every single Xavier stan is in a limbo of a, silent nightmare. It quite literally feels like a silent nightmare, because why in the world why the hell have they not even acknowledged it even a little bit? All they had to do, Infold, was just issue a simple statement saying, hey everybody, we hear you, we understand that there are some issues with the King of Dark Knight, a companion, whether that be at R2, R3, whatever it might be. We're sorry for the inconvenience and we will be looking into making the necessary adjustments and issuing compensation for our player base that have stood by us and have always supported us with extreme loyalty. That's all I can say, right? Now, before I can, continue, I just want to, share some of the comments under this post. So let's start. Me, regarding all the slip-ups and the still missing content of Caleb and Silas now paired with the shady move with Xavier's myth, it kinda lost its spark for me. This one is by the OP or original poster themselves. I was thinking my next move might be going whale or maybe VIP since I've been having a great time. But ever since this banner kinda messed with me, all the silence from the company, not even a word, even if it's something we don't want to hear, like saying they don't see it's broken and won't fix it. It's pretty frustrating. Spending on the game typically makes me happy, since I contribute even a bit to its longevity through the Aurum Pass. But lately, it certainly hasn't been fun. I share your frustrations, and sometimes I start contemplating if it's really even worth it. Radio silence about the King of Dark Knight is very disappointing. And I'm not particularly interested in the latest banners either. That's just a me issue. I hope that things can change for the better. I had planned on whaling to R3 King of Dark Knight, but luckily Battle Girlies told me not to waste my money. Now I'm skipping this multi, letting my Aurum Pass run out and exploring other games. It's crazy to me Infold fumbled this bad. All they needed to do was to put out a statement saying, "We hear you and we are working on getting him fixed by X date," and I would have spent my money happily. Too bad. Also holding off on spending until we get any form of acknowledgement about the King of Dark Knight. Considering the success of that banner, a huge success mind you with the charts, it's incredibly upsetting how they're treating this situation. Eye roll emoji. I don't even have it in me to even get excited about the summer multi-banner. The silence is what really gets me. Not even an acknowledgement that they've heard the complaints. I used to think Hoyo was scummy, but Paper Games is way worse. If this happened in Genshin to a character, the outrage and response would be instant. CN Little Stars achieved a historic moment, getting the King of Dark Knight to the top of the charts and were ignored in return. Lesson learned that spending money doesn't earn any goodwill from the company and only makes their wallet fatter. I have a few months of Aurum Pass, so I'll continue to collect that, but I won't be renewing it after it ends if there's still no response and solution. Also, guarantee that mods will lock this post because they never allow any sort of discussion that's not glowing praise for the company. Another one reads, I joined as the wedding banner dropped, liked the experience and started to spend. I was particularly excited for the King of Dark Knight banner since it was my first myth one and I loved the theme. Opened my wallet to R3 immediately, only to be disappointed after. I'm kind of iffy about whether or not to spend any more money for the beach banner or even any banner after that. I don't care about the little details, spice, outfits, accessories, etc. I'm more concerned with what I'm perceiving as Infold making low/no effort in some areas, including a lack of clear communication and commitment to fixing current in-game issues. It doesn't make sense to me to reward bad behavior with good money if things don't improve in the long term. They're not going to listen unless it threatens their bottom line anyway. Not even 30 days in and hopefully they'll turn a corner soon and fix what needs to be fixed. Then I can go about my business as a happy dolphin and lad's harem enjoyer. One can only hope. Another player said, I've switched back to free-to-play for a bit and it's nice to be saving some money. I still like the game, but the myth and this recent event aren't super appealing, so it just means that I can save for an event I do like. This one says, was a free-to-play since launch and I spent for the first time with that yellow promise card of Caleb. Then I have been getting the Aurum Pass for the past few months as well, renewed it today in fact. To be honest, I don't like the new companions in general and I'll probably skip Caleb's as well if they decide to give him long hair, as I don't really like the trend or the new mechanics with so many options. Brackets, I preferred them when they kept the combat fairly simple and straightforward, and the animations are getting way too long, which feels like wasting time during combat. It's like, whoa, the first time you see it, but it gets annoying and boring fast, which was also the case for Caleb's second myth pair. I hate this one in part because the animation feels way too long. So there you have it, my flowers of Linkon, a depressing set of comments and rightfully so, pissed and, depressed and sad. Xavier stands just venting their frustrations, and the fact that they were whale players and they were actually contributing such a huge part to the game, to the game's economy, to the game's flourishment, to the game's success, only to be hit in the face or hit in the face with a bunch of swords poking through. The swords being a metaphor for the company, if in case you were curious or wondering. And now just in some breaking news along with this. I have been seeing some posts on Reddit as well that are now saying that apparently the CN girlies don't like some of them. They don't like, or the vast majority of them, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, if it's the vast majority or some of them, but they don't like the fact that there was a shot of MC carrying Raphael in the new beach multi-banner and they actually wanted it to be removed, and Infold was apparently quick to react to that. I personally love Raphael's duality. Raphael and Xavier are the kings of dualities, and they are of course, the king of duality mostly being Raphael, but the point is, why the hell would Infold give their attention to that issue rather than addressing the mountain of issues of the King of Dark Knight? The fact that the CN girlies have even, or the CN players have even issued a formal complaint threatening to file for a lawsuit if they do not have the companion fixed, and they literally gave the company 1 week from the companion's release to have things fixed, and the fact that they didn't respond prompted them, or aggravated them to take this unsavory decision to actually file a lawsuit, because they're like, okay, then money talks, right? Then the lawyers, this is the only option. I genuinely am at a loss for words at the way that this whole thing has unfolded right before our eyes. And just for some context, I was initially planning to pull for Xavier's myth companion. I actually did one singular free pull. My pity was, I still remember this, my pity was at 62, meaning I had 60, pity was at 62 as in actually I was 62 pulls away from guaranteeing a 5-star. And since myth banners have a 50-50 probability, there was a 50% chance it could be the memory and a 50% chance it wouldn't be. So I never had any high expectations going in. But to my luck, I just did one singular pull one afternoon, and I actually got one half of his companion. Then I made another 30 wishes, not 30 wishes, another, I think we got 30 free pulls and then 60 or 70 pulls from my side. I made a total of 102 wishes, but I lost my second 50-50 to a Silas Knight Plumes card, which I wasn't too mad about because I anyways needed to rank that card up, so I was happy either way. I was a bit sad at first because I really wanted to grind some more diamonds to complete his companion at least at R0. All my cards, all my limited cards for context are always at R0 because that's all I can, that's what's comfortable for me, and that's all I really care about in terms of gameplay for me, in terms of the whole limited cards scenario. But after reading, after waiting for, I was something was telling me don't pull. I was even fully prepared to skip the beach banner in favor of his myth banner, But something was telling me to just hold on and just don't pull yet. Wait for a couple of days. And lo and behold, the entire internet, or the entire Reddit, at least the platform that I tend to engage with in terms of community, is on Reddit, because that is the healthiest and most sane platform in terms of the lads fandom for me, in my opinion, currently. So everyone was talking about how people who spend wads and unholy amounts of cash to R2, R3 his companion, and he was being an HP scaling companion, was literally getting defeated and dying in battles in higher level orbits. What was the point of making 400, 500, 600? Hell, there's someone that even made 800 to 900 wishes, I think, to even R3 him, only to be met with this level of disappointment. It is totally unacceptable and the most depressing and saddening thing to have happened so far. This is really giving me flashbacks of Infinity Nikki, and I am a day one player of Infinity Nikki, so I know what has happened in terms of the overhaul and retcon of the story and all of the disgusting, microtransactions and all of the unsavory things they have chosen to do with that game. And I am, in Infinity Nikki, I am a fully free-to-play player 100%. I had initially spent a small amount of money in December, but ever since Jan up until now in Infinity Nikki, I have been purely free-to-play and having a good time as it is, without really having any expectations. And for me, skipping banners, events, it depends, but skipping banners are very easy for me in Infinity Nikki. I can skip many at one go because I have a specific style that I like. So for me, it's very easy, and I'm not emotionally attached to outfits as much as our, hot pixelated 3D men, for example. Okay. But I really don't understand why they are choosing to respond with silence, especially since they know that the money talks, and when the players are throwing money at them and they still choose not to respond is really, really frustrating and baffling. Honestly, I have no words for what this behavior is. I do not understand why are they choosing to go with this direction when they know the players have made this game massively successful. So let me know your thoughts. Whether you are a Xavier stan, a Xavier main, a battle enjoyer in general, what do you think about this situation? And it's not looking good for Infold, in my opinion, if they're going to continue down this route. So I really hope that they really start listening to player feedback and just stop, just throwing banners at us every single second without giving us any breathing room in between, and really, really consider our feedback. Because yes, at the end of the day, a game's success is determined by its player base, plain and simple, right? So hopefully they can get their act together and they can really respond to the issues concerning the King of Dark Knight companion, and may justice be served for His Majesty, King Xavier. Okay, he is just looking so hot and so cute, sleeping in this cute position, and the glow on his skin. Okay, may good luck and early pity always follow all your pulls, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.